From the grind to the glory, one man's journey proves that heart, hustle, and determination change the game. This is Catch as Catch Can with George Tinsley Sr., where adversity is met head-on and champions are made. Here's George.
Welcome to Catch as Catch Can. I'm George Tinsley Sr., former professional athlete, entrepreneur, author, and your host. This is a space where we sit down with leaders who face real challenges, learned real lessons, and kept moving forward.
Turning obstacles into opportunity.
Hello. Today we have Michael J. MacDonald. Michael is an entrepreneur, brand architect, and co-creator of Earn Your Leisure, the platform behind Invest Fest, Market Mondays, and EYL University. He is also the founder of the Business Engine, where he helps entrepreneurs build scalable businesses through systems and strategies, and creator of the Backpack, a youth initiative focused on business and financial literacy, featured in Black Enterprise. Michael, welcome to the podcast. Hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm blessed. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Great, man. Welcome to the podcast. We've been looking forward to having you. So let's start off by telling us how growing up in the housing projects helped steer you and drive your vision.
Well, growing up with a little, I always wanted you to want more than want a lot, right? So the project experience, I must say, I'm not going to sit here and say my project experience was the worst in the world, but it was definitely drug infested. It wasn't too many murders, anything like that. We may have had gunshots a couple times, but it definitely inspired me to want more. I do realize some people get comfortable in their surroundings, and a lot of people don't leave a mile or so outside of where they're from. But me seeing things on TV, seeing MTV Cribs and seeing business partners and stuff having so much, like big houses, nice cars, I always wanted more. I didn't want to settle for what was in front of me. I wanted to settle for what was so far ahead of me. And I wanted more than what was in front of me. So I looked so far ahead of me. And that's how I always been. I always wanted more. Like when I got my first house, I wanted a bigger house. When I got my first car, I wanted a nicer car. I always wanted more. I'm somebody that always wants more because I feel like I deserve it. We have one life, so you got to live it up. And that's what it was. I didn't want to be on food stamps my whole life. I didn't want to worry about where my next meal was coming from. I didn't want my lights coming off every other month. I wanted more for my life. And that's why I looked further ahead and strides for more.
Yeah. Where were we, Michael? Where did we grow up?
I grew up in Greenburgh, New York, in the Public Housing Authority. So it's a small town outside the Bronx, which you're probably familiar with. So we're about 15 minutes from the Bronx.
Okay. And so starting out early in school and wanting to get out of the surroundings and do more, was there anything about your education at that time that sparked you?
Well, my education, I will say it hurt me actually because they put me in special education very early. Around second or third grade, they put me in education. It's right around the time when my grandmother died. My grandmother died when I was 8 years old, and she died November 26, 1990, right? And that was basically like that rest of the year in school. When I tell you, I literally didn't talk to anybody. I was a mute. I was sad because those first 8 years of my life, she was like everything to me because my mother worked a lot. So I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. So she was my everything. And when she died, it just crushed me. So I think me not talking to anybody, I guess I had a learning disability or something. And once they put me in special education, I wasn't able to be equipped with the education that I needed to survive in the real world. So I had to go outside of my school system and learn on my own.
So your school system, they didn't try to see what may be wrong. They just decided to put you in special ed class.
Yeah, my mother not knowing or understanding the school system, she was just listening to what they were saying and thinking they were right. That definitely, it was a big obstacle to get over. I managed to get into all mainstream classes is what they called it back then. I call it the same thing. But I will say it definitely made me want more. It made me strive for more. It made me have a chip on my shoulder and want to prove something that I'm not this. I'm something more than what you think I am.
Yeah. Michael, I can identify with that. When I was in the 5th grade, 6th grade, the teachers told me I might as well just quit school. I never graduate from elementary school, and it put that chip and that spark in my life to what made me want to do something else. So I could certainly, different time, but same kind of scenario.
Where'd you go to school? What city, what state?
In Louisville, Kentucky.
Whoa.
Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, this was way back though, in a time, yes, when integration was just starting, and when all the black kids going into the new school had to take tests and so forth. But same scenario, that spark that challenged you, that made you either go one way or the other way. So fortunately chose the positive way. So anyway, you get into special education. How did you come out of that? And when you came out of that with that spark, what happened?
So one thing that happened for me was that I found what I loved, what I wanted to do for the rest of my life very early on. I hear a lot of people, like even my age, don't really know what they want to do. And we had a library and it had 2 computers. So when lunchtime started, you had to rush there because being the fact that we only had 2 computers in the library and my family wasn't rich, so we didn't have a computer at home. I wanted to be in the library all day because I found something called Prodigy. If you know back then what Prodigy was, it was the internet today. It was how you would get online. So I started to learn how I could research things, I could explore things, I could have an email. I really wish, because I actually have Michael MacDonald at hotmail.com. That was my first email, and I lost it throughout the years, but I just fell in love with the computer. I fell in love with Photoshop. I fell in love with Flash. I fell in love with all these different things, building websites, making flyers, and just so the computer was just, it's like how AI feels today to these new kids. You get so much access to so much. You have so much at your fingertips, where back then that was the same feeling I had when I had the internet. Instead of this book in front of me, I got this, I have access to everything. That became my passion. And I'm like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to work on a computer for the rest of my life. I don't know how it's going to look, but it got to be on a computer because I could be on a computer all day. And that was the strive. That was I knew what I loved. So whether or not I had to go to social studies, whether or not I had to go to math, whether or not I had to go to English, I knew what I loved. That was my focus. I just poured into that skill every single day in and day out. I kept learning new programs, new things about the computer, and I started making money at an early age with the computer, and it just evolved into this major empire.
Tell us about that. How old were you when you started helping out your classmates or your friends or your relatives with respect to the computer interaction?
Well, the funny thing is, it wasn't even my friends. It was the community. I would say the community leaders, because they were the DJs, the promoters. They would have these parties and events in local bars around the community. And back then, they probably still do it now, but they would get these flyers, right? They would get flyers printed up and they would have a bunch of people pass out flyers. But on those flyers, there are designs. They're like the pictures of who's going to be at the party, the promoter's name, the DJ's name, the address, the ticket price. So what I would do is I would start to make those flyers, and I would charge $50 for a flyer design.
Wow.
And, yeah. So, and I'm getting like 4 different promoters a week. So, and they were like repetitive clients because they had these weekly parties. So I'm making $200 a week while I'm 14. And I'm working at an arcade making money there, because back then you had to have the Jordans first. And if you went to school with me, you know I was the number one guy that had the Jordans first, right? Yeah. That was what I stood for. That I was the Jordan guy. If you wanted to see the Jordans for the first time and they're coming out, you wanted to come to me because you know I had
right. Yeah.
So, and that's what I wish I was investing in Nike back then if I knew. If you don't know it. So, but that's what I was doing. That's how it started. But me, I don't know, God implemented this business mind in me. I'm like, if they need flyers for a party, they're probably going to need a website.
Okay.
They're going to need a website. They're going to need photography at their parties. They're going to need videos. They're going to need all this stuff. So I just started learning different skills, and adding to my repertoire. And dollars from a party turned to $1,000 a month for their whole gambit of media.
At 14 years old, 15 years old.
Between 14 and 18.
Okay.
So, graduating high school.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you, because that's a whole lot happening at a very short period, how did you handle all that from the standpoint of a business, if you will, formal business? Did you seek out help to put a business structure together, or you were just dealing in cash and moving on that way?
Well, it was PayPal. I was dealing with PayPal and cash, but
Okay.
my mother didn't really let me go outside that much. On snow days, I had to stay inside. It really wasn't that hard. I had a lot of time on my hands because I wasn't really allowed to. I wasn't allowed to go to the mall with my friends. I wasn't really. She was kind of strict, but she really was keeping me inside. So by me staying inside, I started to go to my brother's house a lot in the beginning because he had a computer. So I used to use his computer. My mother would let me stay at his house, and he lived in the Bronx. So I would use his computer in the Bronx, and that's how I would make my flyers in the beginning. And then I don't know which graduation, it was graduation or something. I was saving up money. We had this thing at the county center. It was called the county center, where every month they would have a computer show. What I was doing was I was saving up money, right? Every little dollar I would get. It was shopping carts around the projects. I would go get all the shopping carts, give them to the shopping cart guy. I would get maybe $20, $30, but I started saving up every single dollar. And every month I would go to this computer show and I would start building my computer, getting the pieces to build my computer. And I eventually built my own computer. And that's how I started to work at home. And this was probably a year in after making like money with the flyers. So that was cool. Now I have my own computer. I convinced my mother. We never had Prodigy, but I convinced my mother to get AOL. That was when you got the dial-up and stuff. So I had AOL, I had internet and stuff. And I showed her and my brothers what it was. It was really dope. So it just evolved into this business. So it wasn't so hard to manage with my time because I had a bunch of time. I'm a kid. I just didn't play. I didn't play a lot. I didn't go out to like parties. I didn't go out to hang out. I was home a lot. So by me being home, it allowed me to pour into my skill.
Yeah, it's very interesting as as our audience listens in and hears your story, which is a really very interesting story. There's a lot of kids that are young adults and kids out there today that are getting into AI and trying to understand the different AI programs and so forth. And you at an early age getting into the programs at that particular time, what advice would you give some of these youngsters, some of these people looking in on how to develop their program, their skills, and be able to transition into money or to monetize it?
One thing I learned from my wife, shout out to my wife, Jessica, the most important thing is time, right? That's something you can't get back, right? Now, what would you want to do? Would you rather be financially free, right? Financially free. When I say that, I mean, you don't have to worry about if you have enough money for groceries, if you can pay for this, if you can pay your mortgage, pay your rent. Financially free, meaning like you have freedom to do what you want, when you want, on your own time. If you really, really want that and you really believe in that, I will say to any youngster that your 20s should be all about building that financial freedom. Because if you can take those years, which you have the most energy, you retain the most information, and your ambition is just so much at a high level, that is the moment where you need to lock in on something that you really love that can be very profitable, right? And you dial in on that skill in your 20s and you become financially free in your, say, late 20s, that you can enjoy time the rest of your life living instead of working for a living. You can live for a living. That's the best advice I could give.
Yeah. How did you stay away from the negative, from the street, from the folks that wanted to be close to you and hang on to you? Tell us about that. How did you do that?
Well, I mean, I got to give shout out to my brothers, my sister, my mom. You know how kids, my son, I swear, you could tell him the stove is hot.
Yeah.
He's one of those kids that he has to touch it. He learns through his own experiences. Right. I learned through others' mistakes, right? And I think that was my gift, that if you told me something that was like not to do, I didn't have to find out for myself. I didn't have to take the leap for myself. So I think seeing people go to jail, seeing my oldest sibling, my sister, she was kind of like, she got caught up in the law, and she kind of told me, always was like, listen, don't do this. Don't go down this route. This is not, I hate being in this situation. So it was like a lot of influences around me showing me already what not to do. It's like my dad, right? he's never been in my life, right? So if I don't know how to be I don't know what a father entails because I never had a father, how do I become a good father? Do everything that he didn't do, right? And that's the same thing. I'm doing everything that they did, I'm not doing. It's the same thing. So I think that's what I'm doing. I'm learning through other people's mistakes.
That's a great lesson, great message there, Terry Young, because this AI method we're going through today is it seems to be a great vehicle for a lot of a lot of people are getting involved in it and so forth. Tell us about starting your first, let's see, co-creating EYL. Tell us about that.
Yeah, EYL, which is of course, I don't think my partners, none of us knew it was going to be this huge, but we knew it was going to be a special, right? Because anytime you take on an opportunity, you do something and money's not your driving force, that's something you're doing because it's a passion. And again, me doing computers, I didn't really know that I was going to make money from computers. I just love being in front of a computer. I said, I don't know how I'm going to make money. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'd have to be on a computer. So my friends, my two childhood friends that we grew up together, we started many businesses. I want to say 5 or 6, lost thousands and thousands of dollars each pouring into business ideas. But the difference between, say, those 6 businesses and Earn Your Leisure is those 6 businesses, we were starting those businesses to make money, to become financially free. This business, we're like, let's just do it. It's something to do and give people information that they don't. I think that was the special part because Rashad, he is a financial advisor at the time, and he was like teaching people how to manage their finances. And it really started with Rashad, but I'll get back to that. And Troy was an educator. So he was very good at breaking down things and dissecting it and explaining it to people where it can make so much sense. And me, I was the person that was the media guy that I could put this in front of the masses, right? I could take this content and visualize it, right, to the masses. And it's a puzzle. It's 3 pieces to this puzzle, right? If you take one out, then you're missing something. Okay. So we were able to put this puzzle together and create a masterpiece, right? But like I said, I'll go back to Rashad. Rashad actually came to me in the beginning. He was like, yo, I want to be the #1 financial advisor online. I said, all right, let's do it. Because he knew that I was helping other clients and making them successful online and building their brands, he came to me and said that's what he wanted. And that's how it really started. And that was like 18 months in, I started to build his brand. And he went from 300 followers to 40,000 followers. And once he got to those 40,000 followers, that's when people were asking for a podcast. And that's all it was a podcast. But when you get attention, you have to maximize the efficiency of building that attention as much as possible because Mike Tyson at one time had the most attention, right? Floyd Mayweather at one time had the most. All these people had the most attention at one time. The question is, how long can you keep this attention going, right? And if you consistently become innovative, you can make this attention last forever, right? And we started in 2019, Earn Your Leisure, and we still being innovative. We're still adding things. We're still building things. We're still maximizing this attention to the best of our ability. And I think that was the greatest gift. The sweet spot is building something not for money, building it with passion, and creating the right pieces around you to build that thing.
So what are we doing with Earning Your Living? What are we doing?
Earn Your Leisure. So we started as a podcast. Now it's a media empire. It's turned into a network. We have other podcasts under our brand. We have the biggest event that's happening August 7th to August 9th. It's literally the biggest business event in the world. It's called InvestFest. That's where we have people from around the country, around the world. We have Serena Williams headlining. We have multiple billionaires coming in talking about financial literacy. We have people talking about different industries, we got a relationship panel on how to manage your finances. We got the gas guy that teaches you how to turn plastic into gas. We have a diverse array of information that is totally phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. We have workshops that these different brands like Microsoft and all those different brands, Block, they're going to be putting on and diving into AI. We got that. So it's going to be an array of information. But the biggest thing about InvestFest is the people you meet. I meet someone new every single year, and we do some type of business with, right? One guy we did some merch with, another guy did some real estate with, another guy we did some other invest. So it's always the people you meet. And that's why I say to people, when they come to InvestFest, make sure you meet as many people as possible, because you never know what that person's going to be. Shoot, I mean, Earn Your Leisure, that's how I met my wife. To be like, I found love with Earn Your Leisure. I met my wife at one of our meetups. So you can actually meet your wife at InvestFest. So it's so many things that can happen at InvestFest, because it's over 30,000 people, right? Over a 3-day period. And another thing is about InvestFest is that a vendor, right? You can become a vendor at InvestFest, and you get to have 30,000 people three different days in a row come to your storefront for a small fee. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
we're throwing your work, we're throwing your social media up here.
That's InvestFest. That's August 7th to August 9th. Yep. So we have that. We have we have I call it my baby. We have our community, EYL University. And that's where we literally, like, if you love the podcast and you love financial literacy, that's the place you go to take a deeper dive into everything that we talk about on our podcast. And it's called EYL University. So that's our community where we allow people to come. We have regional groups. So we have meetups all around the country. We have a big event. Every quarter we have an event for EYL. So that's been a tremendous success, over 12,000 people. So it's been really good. And then I've been building my community as well, of just people that own these businesses. Like, I realized that people have influence, people have followers, people have businesses, but they don't know how to monetize them. They don't know how to maximize the monetization of their businesses. And that's why I created the business engine, to teach people how to maximize the monetization for their business.
The business engine is in InvestFest, or is that Market Monday?
No, that's my personal brand.
Okay.
Market Mondays is just like a podcast. Just look at this. From a podcast, how many things you can launch.
Right.
Like, podcasting is the #1 networking tool right now. You've probably met so many people. You probably connected with so many people. And it's an avenue for you to market whatever you got going on. Right. Podcast is the way. I just opened a podcast studio because I know how big podcasting is and how big it's going to be. Everyone's going to have a podcast. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has something to say. And pretty soon, if you can make it the easiest way possible to create your podcast and get it out.
Tell us, Michael, what's the key to that? What do you think the key to that is? Because if everybody can do it, would be doing it. But you're building your studio. Is that the key, or what's the key?
The key, I mean, like, I don't want to be generic and say consistency, but the first thing is, the hardest and easiest thing is to be consistent, right? Okay. And that's the reality. I think it's a fact out there that podcasts don't last more than 6 weeks, 6 to 10 weeks or something like that. They fail after 10 weeks. They start to fall off because they can't stay consistent, right? And I think being different, if it's a podcast about business, don't try to do everything that Earn Your Leisure does. Take it and maybe go to the businesses. Be different. Add some different flavor to it, right? If this guy's selling a spicy burger, go get a sweet burger. You know what I'm saying? Just change the flavor. The same context, but change the flavor. And I think that's what works, right? Streaming's been huge for a long, like, years now, right? Why does this guy, Dean, he's been, but once he added a different flavor, Adrian Broner, to his stream, he became huge, doing the same exact stuff. The guy's doing the same exact stuff, but he didn't have no flavor. You put a little A/B on it, now he got that flavor. Now he's the biggest thing in the world right now. So it's all about just add your flavor.
So, Michael, are you still working out in New York? Where are you working out of now?
I'm in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for the last 8 years. I'm born in New York, raised in New York, and I moved to Atlanta 8 years ago because I had to go find my wife and get my 2 kids.
That seems like the real important part of your life there. Tell us, what is Market Mondays now?
Market Mondays is the biggest investment show online. So one of our partners, Ian Dunlap, he came and we partnered with him, with Troy Rashad, and we created a weekly show that we teach investing for free.
Okay.
And it gets over 100,000 views a week. So it's a live show. Sometimes we have people ask questions. And so it's a really, really great show, and it's doing really well. It's one of the best shows out.
Outstanding. You can certainly see your enthusiasm about this, man. You also mentioned something here a little earlier about your son, your children. Tell us about how that has really impacted your life, your children.
Well, it's the fire under my butt,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Probably it's the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me, like having children and having a kid look up to you and like want to be like you and push you to want more. They're my everything. I can't say nothing. Like, it's no words I could describe. The day I became a father, it was just like the most fulfilling moment of my life.
Okay. Is your wife involved in your business also?
Well, we have a business together. We took over a podcast called Hardly Initiated, and that's doing pretty big. Is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views a month, and it's over 1 million views a month. So it's doing really well. We do that together. And I also work in her trading business. So I helped her build her trading business. So, that's something I've been able to do as well.
Great. I'm sure you enjoy working together there. Tell us about that.
It's challenging. Because
yeah.
she wants, this ain't my business partner, but it's my wife. So,
Right.
And happy wife, happy life type of thing. When your wife wants it this way and your business mind saying, no, it has to be this way. You got to say, do I say be a husband or do I be a businessman? So it's a thin line. It's a thin line. It's definitely challenging.
Yeah. So I want to go back a little bit. How much education did you go through? Did you go to college after high school?
I went to Mercy College for 2 years, and I went to Mohawk Valley to a school in Utica for a year. So I did about 3 years of school.
Okay.
I didn't finish.
Okay. Do you plan on going back one day or?
Absolutely not.
Okay. That just absolutely not. So during school, did you take courses that would help you in what you're doing?
I went to graphic design. That was my first love was Photoshop. So I got to learn more Photoshop and dig in obviously I didn't learn too much. I just learned the fundamentals of shading, the fundamentals of subjects and things like that, and lighting and things. So I didn't really learn so much, but again, I met friends that I'm still friends with to this day. So again, who is everything.
Right.
It could change your life.
Yeah. And I'm sure doing these different workshops and so forth that you have, you're meeting a lot more people, interesting people are along the same line.
100%. The hardest thing is that because I am one of the owners of these companies, I get more people coming up to me. So it's not like a mutual thing. So you don't know who's coming to you for genuine and who's coming for you just because they want to take something from you, So it's hard juggling it. It's hard. It's hard to judge who's really, genuine, that really, really wants to build, or who just wants to just take.
Michael, I could tell by the enthusiasm that you have and how you light up your energy that comes through about what you do. And I would think that when you are engaged with folks that don't have that same enthusiasm and so forth, you can tell real quick that they may not be the people that you want to partner up with.
Well, and that's it's really great that you said that, because the most important thing about partnering or bringing people on as team members or working with people is you want to put them in places where they get excited. They enjoy doing the thing that they're supposed to do. But if you put someone in a place where they don't enjoy what they want to do, it's gonna be a bad situation. And it's hard too, because it's hard hiring friends or working with friends or partnering with friends, because when things don't go the way you wanted it to go, how does that exit happen? How does that exit happen with keeping a relationship? It's a real tough situation. That's why you have to be very careful on putting people in places where they're supposed to be, not where you want them to be.
So let's flash back up there some of your social media, and we'll walk through it, and you tell us a little bit about it, because I think a lot of people are going to be very, very interested in what you've done. There's so many people out there that have these talents, but they just haven't taken the talents and pursued them and to the level that you have. So we've got one of your sites up here now.
That's the business engine. That's my community.
Okay.
Yep, that's my community. That's the where people would join and they would actually get access to all the video. It's been up since May of 2025, so I got a ton of videos up there that I teach people. This is Market Mondays. This is a place where you go to get investment advice. Hardly Initiated, my network. This is the network that me and my wife took over, and this is doing extremely well. As you see, last week, 6 days, 20-something thousand views.
Wow, excellent.
Yep. This is my Instagram. This is that's my studio. The post right there. If you click on the Market Mondays blackout, that's the studio I'm opening up. It's opening up probably in a couple weeks. On the right, over.
You're right. Yeah.
Yep.
Right there.
Studio. Oh, okay, you can't go. Okay. Yep. This is my YouTube. This is my personal YouTube. So remember I tell you about consistency. It's hard to be consistent. I could teach it. I could tell it, but the hardest thing, the easiest thing is being consistent. I went posting for 3 months straight. Then I stopped 6 months straight. It's really, really hard to be consistent. But I'll go on a string of months and just post a ton of content and then come back later. But I grew 13,000, almost 14,000 subscribers, probably of 3 months, 6 months of time.
Okay.
My LinkedIn, my brother Vincent manages that page, but he's my COO. Somebody you probably spoke to already, but he handles all my operations and stuff. So he's the man behind the scene.
Okay.
And that's the biggest festival of them all. Invest Fest 2026 is going to be amazing.
Right there in Atlanta.
Where are you located now? Are you still in Kansas? Kentucky?
No, I'm in Florida now. I'm in Central Florida.
Central Florida.
Nice. Yeah, right between Tampa and Orlando.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I grew up in Kentucky and then played professional basketball, and then through the transition of my career, wound up down here in Florida, and I'm in the restaurant business.
Oh wow! Which restaurants do you own?
Well, we have various different brands. Michael, we have Kentucky Fried Chicken, we have P.F. Chang's, we have TGI Fridays, Burger King, Wendy's. Quite a few different brands that we operate as franchisees.
Do you teach how to franchise and stuff, or no?
No, I haven't. At one particular time, when I first started off with KFC corporate back in the early days, I worked in the franchising department, training department, teaching the franchisees, and then later on, during that course of working for corporate America, I actually worked with the franchisees and helping them learn how to run their business. Then I became a franchisee after that. And so at this particular point, I still work with people that are interested in getting into the business.
Yeah. It's definitely a great opportunity. You're taking someone else's blueprint, successful blueprint, and just applying it to your life.
Right. Yeah. That's when it's fun, when you can do things. One thing that we didn't touch upon, tell me about the program that you've created for the youth in the community.
Yeah, it's called the MacPack. It's my MacPack curriculum, where I realized that these kids have skills, right? And they just don't know them. Like I told you, I want to attack the youth early as possible and get them to learn, get them to have a passion as soon as possible. And so what the curriculum does is it teaches you a wide range of different tools and different technologies like AI, of course, photography, graphics, web design, all these different skills, right? We teach a bunch of different skills. And then when we find one skill that the student loves, we horn in on that, right? And then we teach them. So it's a 3-step process. So first, finding the skill, finding what they really love and what they love to do, and teaching them that skill. Right. The second part is taking that skill and creating a business for that skill, right? That's the thing. Learning how to LLC it, learning how to create SOPs, and just creating a business, how to structure a business from a skill. Because you can have a skill, but you don't know how to make it a business.
Right.
I'm telling you how to create a skill, how to make it a business. And then the third part is launching it into the real world. So, and we do an expo at the end of the year where all the kids that build their businesses, and then we get like the students and the teachers to come in and they purchase or get more information about their business, depending on what it is. So that's the curriculum. So it's pretty dope. It's in 2 or 3 schools now. So we're trying to build it out. We're working on redoing some things and making it more efficient and streamlined, because right now it was an after school program, but we want it to be like in school during the day. That's the hard part. So that's what we're trying to do now.
You're doing that in Atlanta?
No, it's in Detroit. Shout out to Amber. Amber was able to get it into schools in Detroit.
Okay. So given all that you're doing, how do you manage your time?
Delegate. That was the hardest thing for me to do, because trust is hard, especially when I let people delegate my business back in the early days and I lost my business, right? I lost like a lot of clients and I was going broke, right? It's always been hard for me to delegate, but if you put someone, again, this is why I learned how putting people in the right place, somewhere where they're efficient, they're good, they love to do what they do, and give them the right structure, the right information, the right systems and processes in place, they will succeed. So delegating, like my studio that I'm building, there's no possible way that I can physically be there every day, but I can create a system that I can put someone there and have them there every day. So delegate. That's the way I'm more efficient. And AI, obviously, like for instance, I used to have to go one by one when someone purchased the vendor and put them in this sheet, right? Now I download the whole entire order log and I dump it into AI and I tell AI, put it in this sheet. It takes 2 seconds. Something that used to take me hours.
Yes.
2 seconds with AI.
Yeah. Yes. What is your feeling about AI today?
I love AI. You know, I hear things that it hurts the economy, the environment, and things like that. But I will say you have to be creative. Still be creative. I hate when people take AI and they don't add their sauce. It goes back to that sauce. Right. They just take AI and what happens if AI goes out for a week, a day, a month? People are going to not know what to do. Don't heavily rely on AI. Use AI as an addition. Don't use AI as the thing. AI is an addition, right? And if you can really understand how to use it as a tool and not just as this everything, I think AI can be really incredible for your business.
Is there any particular AI you recommend that you lean on?
So what I will say is, because I don't really like to talk about different tools. I can say chat, I can say Claude, I can say this or that. Yeah. What I will say is, don't get discouraged, because AI is going to continually evolve. It's going to continue to come out with new things and new things and new things and new things. Hone in on one chat box. That's like Chat GPT, Claude, Perplexity, all that stuff. Hone in on one of those and learn everything you possibly can on that particular tool.
Stay with it.
Become great at that tool. Don't block out the noise from all these other tools. Just learn one tool at a time, because what's going to happen is you'll see, I'm learning this, and then you hear this one come out, and you go, and then eventually you only learn a little bit of each thing, and you don't really know anything. So I would say focus on one thing at a time and don't block out the noise so you don't get discouraged.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice. Michael, I have enjoyed spending some time with you. We had a little rough start getting started here, but I tell you, just your enthusiasm and excitement about what you do and how your family plays a big part in that really makes for a very interesting business. So wish you all the success in the world.
Appreciate it. You too.
Been our pleasure.
More franchises.
More franchising. Yeah. So we appreciate your time. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
This has been Catch as Catch Can. The game isn't over. Your success story is just getting started. Head to tinsley.speaks.com for exclusive content, resources, and opportunities. Catch as Catch Can with George Tinsley Sr., a production of Live Stream Editors.